Well, good morning. We're here for our weekly Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016, the day before Thanksgiving, and also Civil War, a couple days before Civil War here in Oregon. It is 9 o'clock. We're here at Courthouse Square in the Senator hearing room at 555 Court Street Northeast. If you will join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I think everybody got here in their rowboats today, probably. We had lots of rain coming down this morning, a lot of puddles, and
There was no traffic, though.
very little traffic.
Few bicyclists, too.
There was some?
No, there were few.
Oh,
Yeah,
Few,
very.
if any.
I saw one yesterday again.
So we do have a change in our consent calendar. I think we need,
Public comment?
nobody has signed, yes, nobody has signed up for public comment this morning.
What would you do without Sam?
I don't know, I probably would let you be chair. Yeah, it's, yeah, I might start taking over his chair here in the last month of the year. We got to remove an item from our consent calendar. Is
Yeah,
that
Chair
correct?
Cameron, if I could, I'd like to make a motion that we remove one item on the consent calendar. It's under business services. It's about approving a recommendation that changes exemption of juris doctor prosecution number 619 and budget analyst number 86. And John Latimer said he'd like to explain this to us.
Okay.
I think the best one to explain it is Gloria. There was a circuit court judge in Texas that put an injunction on the president's salary level for exempt versus non-exempt employees. And so, Gloria, would you like to explain it further?
This was a ruling that just came out, and apparently the Texas judge has issued a nationwide preliminary injunction. So whether or not that exceeds that Texas judge's authority, we right now have a court ruling that says it's a nationwide injunction. So the best course of action is to just remove it from the agenda at this time, because this action would have been implementing the new rule, which has been suspended at this time. So we'll wait and see how the other circuits might rule in. Normally, we would be only impacted by Ninth Circuit. In Texas is not in our Ninth Circuit, but because of the purported nationwide preliminary injunction, we need to follow that ruling for the time being.
So my motion is to remove it.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, so we remove that from the consent calendar.
And then, Chair Cameron, if I could, I would make a motion to approve the rest of the consent calendar. I'll make one note in a minute. Under Community Services, we approve an order reappointing Joel Conder and Heidi DeCoster to the Marion County Fair Board with terms ending December 31st, 2019. Finance, approve a quitclaim deed to convey real property, tax ID R105900. Approve an order reappointing the following members to the Marion County Council of Economic Advisors with terms ending December 31st, 2018. Byron Hendricks, David Christoff, Paul Warner, Bill Burgess, Tom Rolfing, Chuck Swank, Kenneth Junt, and Chad Freeman. And then if I could interrupt, and I should have told you this, Ray Teasley is a long-time involvement. He was with the Council of Governments. He was at the meeting we attended at North Marion School Monday night. Anyway, if there's ever if there's an opening, he'd be much interested, and I'd highly recommend him. So then I get back. Health, approve amendment number 1 to the contract for IDEA Learning Group for $36,250 for consistent e-learning courses for its new employee orientation and ongoing courses for the health department employees that relate to HD policies and procedures. Christie, how'd this get so long? Let's talk about that. Approve a contract with Ursula J. White for $425,000 to provide psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner services to the adult behavioral health clients. Approve an amendment number 10 to the intergovernmental agreement with Oregon Health Authority for $23,480 to fund Ebola prevention. Public Works, approve an intergovernmental agreement formalizing the Association of County Engineers and Surveyors. Approve an amendment of the contract with Charter Communications, extend until December 31st, 2017, for ability to provide cable television services in Marion County. Approve amendment of the contract with Wave Broadband to expand until December 31st, 2017, for ability to provide cable television services in Marion County. Approve an order extending the cable television franchise agreement with Comcast of Oregon 1 Incorporated, through March 31st, 2017, and the last, Treasurer's Office, approve an order distributing Oregon State Forestry timber revenue as per ORS 530.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention on the Council of Economic Advisors, this is a council that we don't hear a lot from because they only meet just right before our budget time. So these folks are committing to one meeting pretty much, right? But what a great group of people, first of all. And second of all, just a little bit of history is that at the first year I was a commissioner, we didn't have any group like this that helped us figure out what our revenue forecast would be. We had a budget analyst and we had shifting amounts coming to each meeting. It was really kind of interesting. So this was the recommendation that came out of the budget committee for us to create a Council of Economic Advisors, much like they have at the state level, of people that have expertise in various areas that affect our property taxes and our economic health as a county. So I just want to say I really appreciate the willingness of these people to serve, and it has a very important role in our county because the more accurately we can project budget revenue forecasts, the better our budget is. John looks like he wants to say.
Yes, John.
You may have heard this story, I've told it so many times. When I came here in '03, there was an argument about how big a deficit we had. One commissioner said 2 million, another said 6 million. So I opened up the CAFR and found out we had a $16 million ending fund balance in the general fund. I said, what deficit? And we've since then, of course, hired a chief financial officer and a budget analyst who has really good background in budgets and revenues. So we do a much better job now. But these folks do help us look at the economy and how the national economy and the Oregon economy affects Marion County.
And you lead that group? You meet with them, or Jeff does?
I meet with them, but I'm not on it. And
Okay.
So
I
who chairs
listen.
it?
Who chairs that group?
Usually it's the treasurer, our
Oh,
treasurer,
Lori.
Lori.
Okay. Well, it'd be great if just knowing they only meet once a year, if we knew when they met to be able to tell them thank you and appreciate the
Okay,
work they
we'll
do.
let you know.
That'd be good. Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion on the consent calendar and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. That takes that very short consent calendar. Done. Our first action item is the Board of Commissioners to consider the approval of an order that would appoint Levy Herrera Lopez, who's here with us today, to the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council with a term ending November 30th, 2019. And Lisa's here.
And Levy.
And Levy. So if you want to come over to the side there, welcome.
Good morning, Chair Cameron, Commissioners. I'm Lisa Trowernick, staff to the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council. And today we have Levy Herrera Lopez here, who is Executive Director at Mano a Mano Family Center. Levy has expressed an interest in being a member of the Public Safety Coordinating Council, and at the November 8th council meeting, they unanimously approved his nomination. So I brought him here today to introduce him to you and for your approval as well. And so I will introduce Levy Herrera Lopez.
Thank you. And again, good morning. I know many of you and we've crossed paths many times, but I think that being on the Public Safety Coordinating Council, I think it's a very important role, especially as I mentioned to the committee, I have a personal passion about serving for the community, volunteering. I've served on many different committees over a long period of time. I'm originally from Mexico, but I've been living here in Salem for about 30 years, and for about 20 of those 30 years, I've been volunteering in different committees for the city and the county and the school district as well. And also professionally, I think I have a certain level of expertise about a large part of our community, the immigrant community and the Latino families that make up Marion County, who are also very concerned about public safety. And public safety it's a major part of living in a healthy community. So I think I could bring a very needed perspective on the council, and I'm just eager to start participating.
Great. Levy, it's great to have you, and I know I don't get to all the public safety coordinating councils, but I notice that you're always there in the back, even as a non-appointed board member participating, and it's amazing how you have an impact in our community, whether you're officially appointed or not officially appointed. It's really great to have you in those particular positions. So for me, it's an honor to formally recognize that today.
Thank you.
Well, I just, first of all, want to say thank you for your willingness to serve on the Public Safety Coordinating Council. I have known Levy for a number of years. We've worked pretty closely together on some projects. He does lend an excellent insight. He didn't talk much in his background about your youth experience, but you've been involved in really the community and public policy from a young age, right?
Yes.
and so with his connections to Salem Kaiser Coalition for Equality, to Mano a Mano Family Center, he not only brings personal experience and professional experience, but you have those connections like you talked about, so you can bring that perspective. And our hope is that it will be a two-way perspective, that you'll be able to participate with Public Safety Coordinating Council, but we'll be able to better have connections with the groups that you represent, because it's so important in our community to have that great communication and those strong relationships. And I do want to say too that while Lisa said that Levy expressed interest, also it was the Public Safety Coordinating Council Steering Committee, when we were brainstorming names of people to fill our vacancy, and your name came up, that you were recruited in some ways, and you have been a faithful member of the public coming to our meetings, and now you'll be a member of the council itself. So again, thank you for being here this morning, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
I don't know where to go after. Janet always covers everything so well. Our cross was with Children and Families Commission,
Yes.
and I can tell you my experience with Levy was insightful, helpful, positive. And so I very enthusiastically support you, and thank you for stepping up to take on this task.
Thank you.
Great.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
Sure.
Levy and I served on a budget committee for the Salem Kaiser School District many, many, many years ago. And he was an excellent member of that committee and did a lot of good work. That's where I got to know Levy. And he's been such a strong advocate in the community and hard worker that I think he'll do a great job for Public Safety Coordinating Council.
I agree.
Yeah, and that Public Safety Coordinating Council, in the last 2 years, I just want to recognize Commissioner Carlson and what you have done in the whole council, and really being effective in making changes, and obviously 3194, the money, and having the priorities set, and you've been sitting there the whole time, but it's really making a difference in Marion County and setting our priorities and helping to keep our community safe. So we have a lot of volunteer positions, but this one is really critical, because I think when you talk to people, what's government's number one responsibility, and it's to keep them safe, and we all take that very seriously up here. So thank you for being able to step up and do this in a formal way. We'll entertain a
Sure, yeah, we have a
motion.
great group of people that serve on that council.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, I would move that the board approve an order appointing Levy Herrera Lopez to the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council with a term ending November 30th, 2019.
Second.
Yeah, motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
you're there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, too. Okay, our next action item is under Business Services, Human Resources. Consider the ratification of the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association, MCJEA, Collective Bargaining Agreement. And Colleen is here with us this morning.
Oh, good.
Oh, is it got like blueberries in it?
Blueberries. Sorry. It's a blue sheet.
Oh, okay.
Just my cheat sheet that I wanted to just use so that you could follow along. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Colleen Kuntz-Chaffins, Business Services Director. Today I'd like to go over with you and for you to consider the ratification of the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association Bargaining Unit. A tentative agreement was reached over the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association Collective Bargaining Agreement on November 14th. Members of this association ratified the CBA Collective Bargaining Agreement on November 15th. The total approximate cost for this package is $282,000, your options are to ratify with them and or approve it, and I'll go over a few of the changes in the contract. You have also received the red line version as well as the regular contract, so I could go over a few of those items with you. I think I just handed you my blue sheet as well. Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. So there are several things changed. First, let me thank everybody that really had a participation in this, and to Faye and Mike and Melanie and to Jason and Amy Rose and all the people who are behind the scenes doing the analysis and getting all the data for this. It was quite a task. And so we and the bargaining team themselves, the employee bargaining team, so I just wanted to, and Angelique, who takes all those explicit notes and all those other things that we do. So Todd Merklin, Jason Boss, Amy Rose Fish, who's off on vacation again today, Lisa, and who am I missing? I got everybody. Okay, and John and Jan, of course. So this agreement is a 2-year agreement. There's minimal language and housekeeping changes as we go through the agreement. In Article 6, you'll see that we didn't make any changes until Article 6, where we talked about Section 4 is part-time employee calculation clarification, really just some clarifications on what that meant, and it was just really some language changes. Article 7, Section 5, vacation accumulation, was just really some clarification. Article 8, Section 1, it's new. We're just stating what the Oregon sick time, the new state law requires, and some numerical changes to the article itself. Article 9, there's some housekeeping with changes to the health insurance contributions, was the increase from 1346 to 1396 for the period of 2017, and then another $50 from 1396 to 1446. in the following year. Then in Article 11, there was a wage adjustment, and I'll clarify that a little bit later. There was a wage adjustment basically because of it was time for our 5-year study. And this was time that we, as per our current practice, you recognize, and we talked about this last year at our class compensation board when we were talking about that we would bring everybody up to current market and based on our current practice to review wages every 5 years. So that's what that wage adjustment is. Different than a COLA, which we'll talk about in a second. Article 23, which is, let me get back there. Article 23 is the reclassification procedure. There's an appeal process when it comes to the board or when it goes to the CAO. In this instance, it went to the CAO, and there's only one classification in this unit, therefore minimal potential impact, and this is the only contract that this will impact. Article 23, Section 6, there was just some wordsmithing that was changed relating to providing copies of proposed changes or findings to classifications, new or otherwise, to the membership. And then Article 35 was the life and term of the agreement, which is a 2-year. We did talk with them about a 4-year agreement, and they turned that down. So we'll talk about that a little later. COLA upon ratifications, both parties, effective November 28th. It was a day after. So the 5% market adjustment will happen on the 15th, as we discussed earlier. And on November 27th. On November 28th, the 1.5% COLA kicks in. We had to do a COLA a day later than the 5% market adjustment by contract. That's how that worked. And then on July 1, 2017, there'll be a 1% COLA adjustment. The approximate cost for that COLA is little over $43,000, and there's no retro pay. Health insurance increase, as we discussed earlier, is $50 a year. From 2017 and 2018, we'll have $50 increases in those respective years. Cost to that was $59,400. There's a letter of agreement for the shift trade. There's a current process and a letter of agreement that said changes to this agreement are to clarify and document the understanding and process for the shift trading for association members in like classifications. Again, note that this unit has one classification, that's the group worker 2. The shift trade is defined as a voluntary exchange of shifts in the same duration by equally qualified employees. Trades are allowed within 2 consecutive pay periods and may not result in overtime for either individual. So there's a lot of shift trading that happens in this unit, as well as like FAPO and probation officers, and as well as our public safety. The letter, we talked about the letter of agreement before, was the 5% where you recognize the current market and practice. And then the cost for the wage adjustment was $179,440, approximate cost. So total approximate cost of this package is $282,000. Be happy to answer any questions should you have any.
Just clarification, 282 over what period of time?
This is a 2-year contract.
Right, thank you. Questions?
I don't.
Just a comment, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you, Colleen, for the summary. I thought that you did a nice job with that, and also appreciate the work of you and your staff and legal counsel and Faye and others in resolving all of these issues. I know we kind of went from a place where it looked like we had a lot of division to quickly coming to consensus, and that's always good. And I think in order to do that, it was important to me as a member of the Board of Commissioners that we have some consistency across the bargaining units in terms of the COLAs. Obviously, this is a very small bargaining unit, but if one bargaining unit gets our gargantuan COLA and the other one gets a more limited COLA, then the next time around, then people are going, hey, wait a minute, how come they got this and we didn't? And it kind of puts us in a difficult situation. In this particular bargaining unit, turned out that this one classification that's in the unit was sadly out of market. I mean, you could see that
Correct.
it had been a while since that market study had been done. Plus, we had, as you mentioned, with the policy changes that we made out of the work group that we had last year that the board adopted, the idea that we're trying to put people at market as opposed to within 5% of market, because if you looked at, if they were, I can't remember, they were somewhere around 8%, I think, at below market, something like that. And we were able to move them up to market, and so then
Correct.
that allows them then to have the COLA and then to keep up as everyone else is doing. So I think it was a great resolution of the issue, and again, really appreciate your work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so the only comment I would make is I've been pretty vocal about this. We had a 4-year contract with our largest people, and it would have been nice to see if we could get a 4-year deal, because then there's some stability and on the employee's standpoint, as well as a future for us knowing what's going on. But we'll work on that again in the future. Try it. So, John.
Mr. Chair, we worked really hard to get a 4-year contract. In fact, the 4-year contract we offered them would have been a better contract for the employees.
Right.
And it's beyond me why they would turn it down, because it was really a good deal for them. But their
Thanks,
their association leader talked them out of it.
All right, Chair Cameron, if I could, I would make a motion that we ratify the Marion County Juvenile Employees Association Collective Bargaining Agreement for 2016 to 18.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay,
Thank you all.
we'll get that one done.
Thank you.
2 more. Later to come.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm looking at my agenda going, I didn't see that on there.
Thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Colleen. And Faye, thank you. She's here today. Okay, I'll read the calendar for the upcoming time. Tomorrow is Turkey Day. We have a lot to be thankful for, and we have a day off. The offices are closed. The county is still open, though.
On Thursday?
I'm just saying,
Somebody will
there's
be
people
Well,
working.
there are people working
And
on
we
Thursday,
thank those
yes, 'cause we
employees
have
that are out there
24/7
working on
Yes.
a holiday for keeping us safe and keeping our roads cleared. And there's going to be some snow out there someplace. So on November 28th, Monday at 10 o'clock, we have a board retreat at the Oregon Gardens out at Silverton, 895 West Main Street. On November 28th, Monday at 10 o'clock, there is a Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Affordable Housing Financial Subcommittee meeting in the Commissioner's Ballroom here on the 5th floor at 555 Court
Are you
Street
sure that's a
Northeast.
ballroom, Kevin?
Did I say ballroom again?
Yeah. Makes me want
I like to go dancing, I think, or something. Something about, yeah. Well, okay. And then on, also on Monday at 12 o'clock, Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Transitional Housing Shelters Subcommittee. Location is in the Salem Conference Room. They don't dance there. First floor, 555 Court Street Northeast. Tuesday, the 29th at 10 a.m., Marion County Housing Authority Board meeting. Location in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor here in this building. November 30th, Wednesday at 9 a.m., we're back here for our board session. November 30th, Wednesday at 2:30, Capitol Community Television, CCTV taping location at the CCTV Studios, 575 Trade Street, Southeast Salem. And November 30th, Wednesday at 4 p.m., Rod Calkins Retirement Party, location Marion County Health Department, 2421 Lancaster Drive Northeast. Not even a one-page calendar. It's a little bit different than what we've been seeing lately. Okay, so besides a lot of ducks being shot this weekend.
Tomorrow morning, could be good.
Okay, well, I was thinking of a football game.
Oh, that too.
That-
I think Tammy's going with me, but then she asked, so do you think it's gonna rain? I said, oh.
Going
probably
duck
not."
hunting?
No. to the
Civil War,
to the
oh,
Beaver
you are
game.
gonna go?
Yeah.
Good, all right, I know somebody that's gonna be down there.
I told her our
keep
seats
asking
are undercover. However, it's not undercover from rain, but I didn't tell her the whole story.
Well, I'm glad you're going. I haven't been to a game in a long time now, so.
I'm hoping for good things, obviously. It's time.
Will you be here enjoying family, or are you
Yeah, our
going-
son just got in last night. We picked him up at the Portland airport. It was raining cats and dogs, but on the way up, but he is safe at home now, so. we're
Great.
gonna
Well, we're gonna,
Have a good family.
we're gonna
gathering.
go up to the cabin, the whatever, or you call it a cabin, and it was just gonna be 3 of us because the kids were going someplace else. But now they're coming too, so it's gonna be kind of a full house. And we're gonna do a turkey up there, so that'll be cool. I'm excited about that. Maybe I wonder if there's some ducks out on the lake. That's a good idea.
It could be.
Yeah. I think it's probably illegal. It's Forest Service property. You can't shoot.
Can't you?
I don't know.
I think you can, but
Can you?
you better check that.
But I'll be on the front page of the Statesman Journal.
Take advice from Gloria, not me.
Commissioner shoots ducks illegally, huh?
Could be
All right.
good.
What
Well, so I
else?
wanted to comment, we didn't have board session last week, right? Because we were at the Association of Oregon Counties Annual Conference.
All right.
Down in Eugene, where there are also ducks. And, well, there are.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really good conference. We had an opportunity, I mean, just for people that might be listening that kind of wondered why we canceled board session last week, we have our district meetings Tuesday morning, and so that's where we meet with commissioners from, and administrators from Yamhill and Polk counties and ourselves, and organize around different concerns that we have in the region. We had a number of, what do they call them? Keynote speakers that addressed the whole group, and then a lot of breakout sessions. And the breakout sessions that I went to, one of them was on housing and homelessness, so that was real relevant to what we've been working on. Another one I was involved in the panel was on convening, and so Greg Wolf, who does this Oregon Solutions Program, actually has these 8 different principles that they put together on how people can convene where you have different interests and you're kind of stuck in a problem and aren't able to move forward. And one of the things that the principle I was supposed to talk about is how you set the stage and get people to talk to each other. And so it feels like I do that a lot. You know, I think we do that a lot in our work. I start out by saying that I taught junior high for many years, and everything I learned about convening, I learned in teaching junior high school. You start at the beginning, you tell
then I
stories.
walked in the door and she looked at me.
Right, yeah.
Well, she was pretty numb by the time you got here.
But it is really true that oftentimes what you see when people in government come together with a group is that they're very knowledgeable in their content area, and they live in that world, you know, for 40, 50 hours a week. And they throw out acronyms and technical terms, and it makes it so that the people sitting in the group often feel like they don't have enough knowledge to be good participants. So the more you can back up and talk about things as you would talk to them with your neighbor, I think the more everybody then feels that they have the right to be at the table and that they have something to contribute and something to offer. And the thing that I thought was interesting about the principle also was the idea that you, as a convener, you don't want to be so directive that people are just talking at you, but they are also talking to each other. And so anyway, I found it a very interesting group. We heard a lot of stories from around the state of different counties, some of them working on natural resource issues, some of them working on jail issues, where they've had...
That education issue up in Columbia County.
Right.
Campus together.
Right, yeah, where they were able to drill through using this model with things that had been, some of them stuck for years, 10 years, 20 years, and able to work things out. So it's what they said is that oftentimes county commissioners underestimate the power they have as conveners, that when we talk about the power that we have, it's not power like we can ride herd on people and, take our will and impose it on other people. We really don't have that kind of power. We are always trying to balance and find out what's best for all of the people. But the power we have is to call a meeting and bring people together, and they actually show up, and we're able to work through problems. So anyway, I thought that was worthwhile. And then they have an annual product tasting meeting that happens on the last evening of the conference, Thursday evening, and they showcase products from all around the state. People come in, and I think we had salsa and chips, and we had cherries and apples, right? And I tried some pears from Hood River. They were pretty good. Yeah. So Gordine and Sarah came down and helped set that up, and really want to express appreciation to them because I know they go through a lot of effort to contribute so that we have a good booth for our region at that conference. So anyway, that's what we were doing.
The one that I was most interested in there, well, always forest trust lands is important. We elect officers, but the breakout I went, and I happen to have it right here, it was having to do with, it says, what counties should know about the Oregon NFIP, that's a National Flood Insurance Program, biological opinion, and I'll route this, but just, we've talked about it, but just so people know, I'm going to read 3 paragraphs. It said the magnitude of this BIOP is startling. If implemented as written, it would force local governments in Oregon and other jurisdictions around the country to apply much more restrictive development standards to larger floodplains to maintain eligibility. And so for both public and private property owners and developers near a river or coastline, these changes could effectively prohibit nearly all of development options. So they were showing how Tillamook County, with all its streams and coastline, et cetera, was kind of the poster child, but it doesn't take a huge, start thinking about Marion County with all our creeks, lakes, this reach is far-reaching and could severely impact us. And I'm very much hoping that this new administration trims them back a bit and brings them in. It's a reach of the federal government right to private property.
Absolutely.
And I don't know where we can go, but we need to be aware of it. And I'll pass this along, round it through.
One of the workshops, I didn't share this with you in management update that I went to, that I thought was really good. In fact, I'd like to get the details from AOC on who the instructor was on bonds and levies.
Oh,
I went to that one, and it was interesting because I just had a meeting yesterday with some other people outside the building about they were talking about the Salem police bond, or the police station,
right.
and they were going to run again, but they didn't have unity. And one of the things he said was, if you're not unified on this, if you're referring it out and you're not unified, don't do it. And I thought I gave some wisdom to some people. You've got to be unified on what you're trying to accomplish with all those people. But there were some other things that they talked about that were really good lessons for us to
It
have.
makes sense. If you're going to push or support something and it's divided, especially on anything that asks for a financial contribution from people, if there's a reason to say no, that starts them right at the
Right at
beginning.
the
We're
beginning.
gonna
Uphill
take
climb.
towards that. So you got to make sure it's, first of all, meets our own or their own needs.
Yeah, there were some good. I thought some of the workshops I went to were really good, brief and to the point. The one on the Army Corps one on the Willamette was good, and we just some good news. I just got the email yesterday. We got the no permit letter on the first phase from Army Corps.
Oh, that isn't needed
on the extensions of the gangplanks up at the 2 marinas
at Detroit.
at Detroit. So with that letter, they're going to be able to submit that to the Marine Board for their grant. So that'll get them some money to help them get those extensions down, which is the first phase of the projects that they're working on up there. So it's still moving really, really slowly, but moving forward. And then COG is helping Miramar at Gates. They're trying to cut a little trail down for kayaks and emergency crews down there by the fire station in Gates. That's moving forward. So some little projects up there in the canyon are still going. We've got to do some follow-up on where to go from here on the regional presentation that we all saw.
Right.
And after the first of the year, what's the next steps? And you're gonna go back to.
Well, I sent the email to Roger, and I saw him as I was getting on the elevator. I mean, just as the doors were closing, but I had to be back here for a meeting, and I ended up being 10 minutes late for it as it was. But did you see Roger at these?
I talked to him yesterday.
Oh, did you talk to him? Okay, good. Did he ever? They said that someone else reads his email and he gets right. So did he?
I didn't ask him about that. This was yesterday about the thing that Gloria brought up on Monday at management update about we'll get a 60-day notice. He was calling to talk about on timber.
Yeah, so it'd be good for if you see him in other venues, because I don't see him as much anymore.
So, but didn't you resend it to Will?
I sent it to Will, but I haven't heard anything back. So, what I don't know is whether or not their spam filters take them, whether they see them.
All right.
So we just want to check in with them.
I'll call him, and we got to get him involved at this point now.
Yeah.
I'm changing subjects, but related. I don't think I reported back, and I was asked to talk to Roger in Lynn County about transit up the canyon. And just to tell you, they sounded supportive. In fact, said in the past they sent money to transit and that they quit asking for it. So we need to follow up
Right.
on that and see if we can keep things moving there.
Who'd you talk to about that?
Roger Nyquist.
Right.
All right.
See, I think there's just a lot of assumptions about what people are interested in or not interested in doing that are not, nobody's checked in to find out if they're true or not, so.
Anyway, they sounded positive, so maybe we can put something together to help it
Yeah.
out.
Very good.
All right. Ready to adjourn, if you are, okay? All right. We're adjourned.